engineered, created famine with the assistance of their Western backers, and then literally slaughtering people while they're queuing for this food given by the Orwellian named Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Just in the last couple of weeks, the Israeli state saying that what's happened up until now is not enough, but we're going to have a full occupation of Gaza. And what does that mean? It means completing the job of genocide. It means killing or forcing out every Palestinian who is left in Gaza and fully incorporating it into the state of Israel. And now, after almost 2 years, they're saying this absolutely openly, with only the tiniest flickers of criticism or eyebrows raised by their Western backers, but who continue to arm, to fund, to support, to enable this genocide to continue. And what is just striking is how the horrors and the fascistic approach of the Israeli regime, it doesn't just stop in Israel, it doesn't just stop with the Palestinians, but it spreads across the world. It drags the world rightward into this increasingly right-wing authoritarian direction in order to avoid mobilizations, shut down mobilizations, stop criticism of their support for Israel. The incredible sights of people being criminalised for holding placards or wearing t-shirts in Britain saying we support Palestine action. Sally Rooney being threatened with a terrorism act for saying correctly that she will donate funds to Palestine action. In Germany, where the use of the Irish language and Arabic are being criminalised in order to shut down criticism of Israel and mobilisation against Israel, or in the US, where this is used as part of the complete erosion of people's basic civil liberties, people being picked up on the streets and held in camps, deported, whatever way the US state wants to treat people. So the very, very worst of humanity on display. But also, I think you can't help but feel when you come to events like this on a Tuesday in the middle of the day, and it's even more people than the last time I was at this, is also the best of humanity in response to that. The glimpse of the possibilities of a very different sort of world, seen in the resistance and the resilience of the Palestinian people, seen in the solidarity and the sacrifices and the campaigning of so many people globally. I was just thinking, because I cycled down here and I went by the people who are doing the 5-day fast outside the Dáil, and just think of all the different things that are happening just right now. There's people cycling in support of Palestine right now as we speak. There's people outside the Dáil, there's people out here, huge numbers of people involved in activism, and then you multiply that around the world. And I was also just struck by how the issue of the central bank bonds, these genocide bonds, these war bonds being authorised in here to be for sold across the EU has been put front and centre. And that's been put front and centre by the key activists involved in this campaign, and all of you for supporting it, for getting the word out there. I remember when Micheál Martin spoke about this, I think the first time, maybe when it was raised in leaders' questions or something in the Dáil, and he was infuriated by it. He said, this central bank thing has come out of nowhere. Sure, nobody was talking about that previously, and now you want us to stop the central bank. And if we stop the central bank, then next week you'll ask us to do something else. Yes, exactly. That's how politics works. We campaign, we pick issues that we think we can score victories on, we build pressure, and then, yes, we won't stop there. Any level of complicity by the Irish state in this genocide is, of course, absolutely unacceptable. But his response speaks to the power of this campaign and the impact, because all of this, the truth is, you have to be quite cynical about this, this is all a calculated equation by the political establishment. On the one hand, the pressure that we feel from below, the contact we get from our constituents, the numbers that we see on the streets, the actions like this that we see, the pressure that we feel from below, and the need to be seen to respond to it. That's on the one side, and on the other hand is their calculation about Ireland's role in the system of global capitalism, the US multinationals that are here, and their relationship with US imperialism. And they're trying to balance between those two things. Like, that's what's 100% is what is going on. That's what this joke about trade but not services on the Occupied Territories Bill, which makes no sense in its own terms, makes no sense legally. It's about trying to balance between these two things. It's why, in relation to the bonds, they say, no, sure, we couldn't do that. That would threaten our reputation as a financial centre. That ultimately our reputation as a financial centre is more important than doing what we can to stop the genocide. And so the lesson for us is all we can do is get our side of those weighing scales to be as heavy as is possible, to mobilise as many people, knowing that it does make a difference. I mean, you look at the Irish state's investment themselves in genocide bonds, which, by the way, Catherine Connolly was the person who first said this to me, that this is the NTMA. She had the figures to say the NTMA itself is invested in these genocide bonds. When we raised it in the Dáil, the government said, this is ridiculous. This has nothing to do with funding genocide. It's ridiculous. It's just political, politicking about this issue. And then now they've said, we've divested from these bonds because pressure from people is actually working. And that's all we can keep doing, all of us, globally, building our connections, building our power. And I think, the 2nd of September is a moment of moral clarity for Gabriel McLuth, for the Irish government. They've made their excuses up until now. They're completely unacceptable. But are you really going to extend the authorisation of these bonds that are openly used for genocide, for starvation, for the murder of children? Are you really going to say, after 2 years of genocide, we're okay with this going on? So all the pressure, all forces at the point of attack for the next few weeks to say it absolutely must be stopped. Thanks so much. Fair play, everybody.
Thanks so much, Paul. And it's absolutely right. It's keeping the pressure on now. And we can and we